Have you ever been in awe of the quiet people in the room? You know, those who, when they do decide to speak, make their words matter by speaking volumes through their stillness and composure rather than speaking non-stop. Isn't it as though they've figured out the secret to living a good life? So fasten your seatbelts, because we're going to solve that puzzle together today. You're going to learn what makes these silent warriors unique. And shockingly, it has nothing to do with simply being the silent, powerful kind you see in movies. It's about something more profound, something called Stoicism, which has been influencing leaders, philosophers, and searchers for millennia. Before you say, another lecture on ancient philosophy, allow me to interrupt you, please. This is not a time to pull up old books or commit quotations from bearded thinkers to memory. Instead, we'll go into the ways that practicing Stoicism by speaking less might genuinely improve the quality of your life. Therefore, you've come to the perfect place if you're interested in learning how to say less without actually meaning less, or how silence can sometimes be the best response. Come along with me as we investigate, one silent moment at a time, how these timeless qualities may reshape our noisy world. Remember to press the like button, and let's make sure that we not only embark on this journey together, but also see it through to the very conclusion. Each new characteristic and piece of knowledge we share builds on the one before it, creating a roadmap for utilizing silence as a powerful tool in your own life. Willing to stay through to the end? The real magic happens there, when you can use quiet to become your own superpower. You'll want to stay for the entire thing. It's a metamorphosis that is waiting to happen with every second we spend together, not just a voyage. The opponent gets confused when there is stillness. When you choose quiet, you're keeping a mirror to the outside world, allowing people to show who they really are while maintaining your composure like a sturdy tree in a storm. It's about learning the art of stillness, where your quietness becomes a blank canvas on which other people's fears and thoughts can be painted. This is not about giving up. Rather, it is a purposeful acceptance of serenity, a teaching from the Stoics that shows us the value of being like water, lucid, introspective, and unmoved. As Lao Tzu famously observed, silence is a source of great strength. Can you see yourself cultivating your inner wisdom and being calm as turmoil tries to disturb you? The typical dialogue dance in which words are tossed like darts in the hopes of hitting a target is disrupted by this tactic of silence. Rather, your quiet acts as a shield, preventing these darts from striking you and leaving the thrower perplexed and unclear on how to proceed. It's a moment when you're seeing the waves of uncertainty your calm can produce. In addition to listening, you're planning, learning, and staying one step ahead of the game here in the stillness. Your quiet communicates a lot about you and shows that you are a deliberate mover rather than an impulsive one. Accepting silence is a path of empowerment that is consistent with the Stoic qualities of moderation and wisdom. It teaches us to recognize the clarity in the calm, to find strength in the stillness, and to respect the unsaid. This Stoic stillness is not emptiness. Rather, it's a place full with possibilities where you may carefully consider your options, observe, and think things through. So make quiet your weapon and your strength. Discover your voice in the silence and allow it to lead you with the knowledge of the ages, always keeping in mind that there is a power in this silence that cannot be expressed in words. 2. Get rid of distractions. It's critical to understand the power of silence and the courage in speaking less as we navigate the cacophony of daily life. This is about enhancing the value of your voice, not about suppressing it. The Stoic thinkers Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus were aware of the power of language and the necessity of thinking before speaking. They perceived quiet as a time to contemplate and find inner calm and clarity rather than as a blank space. We are going to explore this old knowledge on our trip today, and it is asking us to put an end to all distractions and develop a deeper connection with ourselves and the world around us in the stillness. So why is this quality of speaking less important in today's chaotic world? The caliber of our relationships holds the key to the solution. Every word you choose to speak has the power to either strengthen or weaken, to clarify or obfuscate. When you choose quiet over noise, you allow your words to have a deeper impact on the people who hear them. Being considerate in your communication is a sign of respect for the message, the listener, and oneself. It serves as a sobering reminder that strength frequently comes from simplicity, from the voids between sentences that foster understanding and connection. However, how do we develop this quality, particularly in light of the world's desperate need for our unwavering presence? It all starts with intention, the deliberate decision to welcome quiet times during the day. This could be taking a moment to properly listen to someone before answering in a discussion, or setting aside some time each day to unplug from the din of technology. These quiet times allow us to ponder about our ideas and polish our message, which helps us discover clarity. This practice of speaking less and remaining silent pushes us to value significance over noise and quality over quantity. So, I'm inviting you to go down this path of practicing Stoicism. Observe how accepting silence changes your interactions with others, how you perceive the world, and your conversations. You'll discover that when you talk less, the impact of your words increases, as does the clarity and depth of your thoughts and interactions. This is about living with intention and purpose, not just about talking less. It's also about communicating better. Let us find the strength to seek out the stillness and allow our words to resound with meaning and truth by drawing on the knowledge of our Stoic guides. Let this be the start of a more purposeful, calm, and concentrated life. 3. Quietness draws focus. In the art of speech, silence, which is sometimes disregarded, has a magnetic force. It resembles the quiet before the storm or the pauses in an exhilarating drum solo. It's not enough to simply be silent. You also need to learn when to let silence speak louder than words. Imagine yourself in a situation when everyone is rushing to say what's on their minds, and you remain cool, collected, and silent. Being silent doesn't indicate a lack of confidence. Rather, it draws others in and leaves them wondering what's on your mind. Your inquisitiveness offers you a covert advantage and a deft grip over the dynamics of the exchange. Expanding upon the Stoic notion of the efficacy of moderation and deliberate action, consider silence as a blank canvas onto which others can put their ideas and emotions. It's about allowing ideas to flourish and breathe, both mentally and physically. By choose to listen instead of reply, you are actively participating in comprehending the world from the viewpoint of another person, as opposed to being passive. This act of empathy, which has its roots in Stoic philosophy, improves relationships and encourages a more profound comprehension of people around us. It's a potent instrument that changes the way we communicate in our personal and professional lives, as well as in our inner monologues. Let's now change our focus and examine how using this silent approach might make our speeches more impactful when we do decide to speak. We learn from Stoicism that quality is more important than quantity. Every word we utter carries weight and resonates with meaning and thoughtfulness when we talk less but with greater intention. It all comes down to finding that fine balance between speaking and remaining silent, where the importance of our words rather than their volume determines how powerful they are. This method deepens our exchanges, adding depth and significance without merely improving communication. In our noisy, fast-paced world, choosing to embrace solitude is an art. Once developed, this ability can offer our life depth, impact, and serenity. This isn't about avoiding communication. Rather, it's about maximizing it, employing quiet as a tool to better understand others, build relationships, and clearly communicate our ideas. It's an adventure into the power of pausing, a monument to the ageless wisdom of Stoicism that teaches us the benefit of listening in a world that never stops talking, and the strength in stillness. 4. Quietness makes power. Have you ever noticed how some people are able to command a room with their silence as much as their words? This is the hallmark of individuals who have perfected the Stoic quality of saying less. The virtues of Stoicism, introspection and inner peace, which flourish in solitude, are taught to us. We may access our inner power by enjoying peaceful times. It's like taking a deep well of water. Instead of being about absence, silence is about presence, a concentrated interaction with our inner selves in which we pay close attention to our feelings, ideas, and intuitions. These quiet talks help us discover our genuine aspirations and the life routes we want to take. Think of silence as your personal mental trainer. In the same way that athletes develop their physical strength and endurance through intense training, you can strengthen your mental toughness in solitude. You're not simply sitting there aimlessly in the silence, cut off from the din of the outside world. You're actively constructing a stronghold of inner peace. You can become more centered and unwavering by learning to grapple with and comprehend your inner turbulence in this refuge. It's a technique that helps you become more clear-headed and capable of setting priorities by helping you get ready for life's obstacles. Consider the clarity that results from this kind of quiet now. This is much more than just finding mental clarity to make decisions that are in line with your basic beliefs. Your acts have greater aim and purpose when they originate from a position of introspection. This intentional lifestyle changes more than just your life. It changes the way you engage with the outside world. Your decisions become more thoughtful, your presence more composed and authoritative, and your words take on greater meaning. In this sense, silence is a tool that helps us make sense of the world and the connections in it, not just a place for quiet retreat. What does it mean, therefore, to listen more and say less? It entails having deeper conversations with both the outside world and ourselves. It's about using the power of silence to live a purposeful life under the guidance of Stoic wisdom. Rather than making us retreat, this path of peaceful reflection gives us the clarity and composure to act with confidence and grace. When we learn to love silence, we become robust, sane, and incredibly influential, much like the ancient Stoics. 5. The absence of conceit or haughtiness. It is not a sign of weakness or disdain for oneself to be free from pride or conceit. It's about having a thorough understanding of your strengths and shortcomings without allowing them to enhance or detract from your sense of self. Imagine it as balancing between two extremes, self-deprecation or underestimating your own value, and arrogance or thinking of yourself as superior to others. Maintaining equilibrium necessitates a steadfast inward focus, understanding that our accomplishments do not place us above others. This equilibrium is about truth, the truth of our common human experience, not only about humility. Accepting this fact now changes the way we engage with each other and the world. It moves the emphasis from making statements to comprehending and from speaking to listening. Individuals who possess this quality typically speak less, not because they are speechless, but rather because they recognize the power of language. They carefully select them, making sure that their words provide value rather than just making noise. People are drawn to this calm strength, which promotes respect and deeper ties. It serves as a reminder that we frequently express more with our silences than with our words alone. This way of living and speaking does not happen suddenly. The first step in practicing Stoicism is self-reflection. We can better connect our behaviors with our underlying ideals by routinely assessing our motivations and biases. By accepting our shortcomings and limits, we develop the ability to see others with the same compassion. Finding flaws is not the goal of this process. Rather, it is about developing compassion and insight. And as we mature, we discover that our lives get richer, our minds expand, and our relationships get deeper. Thus, let us keep in mind the importance of taking a step back and speaking less than we listen as we go about our daily lives. Through the adoption of the Stoic virtue, the absence of conceit or arrogance, we foster meaningful relationships and meaningful exchanges in our lives. Here is where we find real communication, where we learn to listen and talk with intention as well as with purpose. This is the way to a meaningful, harmonious, and truly fulfilled life. 6. Avoid talking about the negotiations. Let's discuss the importance of silence, particularly in the skill of negotiating. It is comparable to possessing a secret weapon of great strength in our fast-paced society, one that was prized by the Stoic wise men of antiquity. When used effectively, silence is more than just the lack of sound. It's a powerful tactic that can change the tone of any discussion. Imagine it as the quiet before the storm, not a chaotic one, but one that leads to insight, resolve, and clarity. So why would a less talkative person, particularly during negotiations, frequently find themselves in a stronger position? It's about making room, space for introspection, for the dust to settle, so that we can see the essence of what's really important rather than about holding back for the sake of mystery. As Marcus Aurelius famously observed, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Translating this into our situation, silence allows us to steer the narrative with the rudder of thoughtful consideration rather than by controlling the conversation. Being self-aware is the first step towards utilizing the power of silence. Recognize when your desire to talk is really a reaction and not a response. It resembles steering a ship through a stormy sea as the captain. Though the conversation may ebb and flow, your hand stays firm, deciding when to use words to sail forward and when to anchor in silence. This behavior shows respect for the other person, the situation, and the words that are still to come. It also exudes confidence. It's evidence supporting the idea that our words should have purpose, influence, and the capacity to transform when the time is right. Let's keep in mind the tactical importance of quiet as we move through our everyday interactions. It's a tool to open doors instead of shutting them, to construct bridges instead of walls. Accepting quiet is not about engaging in bargaining. It's a conversation in which mutual respect and understanding are the most valuable commodities. So keep in mind the value of pausing the next time you're having a discussion, negotiating, or engaging in any other type of engagement. It may be the most beautifully expressed thing you have ever spoken. 7. Showing people consideration and kindness. Consideration for others and empathy are like secret abilities in our fast-paced, frequently egocentric society. The ancient philosophy of Stoicism, which is still relevant today, teaches us the importance of these virtues. It demonstrates to us how treating people with kindness and consideration may change not just our interpersonal interactions, but also our perceptions of the world and ourselves. Seneca and other Stoic philosophers highlight the value of compassion and understanding in human relationships. Let's explore this further. When we choose to be nice to others and truly take into account their thoughts and feelings, we are doing more than merely being courteous. Rather, we are manifesting a deep act of humanity that embodies the Stoic conviction in the interconnectedness of all individuals. This is about making room for a more inclusive, compassionate understanding of others around us, not about repressing our own thoughts or feelings. Such deeds are not little. They have a rippling effect on our relationships, encouraging a spirit of respect and understanding. How can we now incorporate this age-old knowledge into our contemporary lives? To begin, make an observation. Take note of how your words and deeds affect other people. Are you a source of calm and understanding, or are you just making more noise? Engage in active listening by paying close attention to what someone is saying when they talk. This is more than just listening to what they have to say. It's also about attempting to decipher the feelings and motivations that lie beneath them. You honor the speaker and the Stoic tradition of empathy and reasoned discourse by performing this little but meaningful deed. With the same passion and consideration that you would want for your own life, consider the experiences and hardships of those who are close to you. Engaging in reflective practices not only enhances comprehension and empathy, but also fortifies interpersonal bonds. It's about realizing the humanity that unites all of us and observing the world through their eyes. According to Stoicism, we may cultivate kindness and consideration in every connection, which will make our lives richer and more meaningful. By following these guidelines, we not only honor our Stoic history to the fullest extent possible, but also elevate others around us and ourselves. 8. Skill is active listening. The skill of deep listening, which is sometimes obscured by the noise of daily life, is a silent force that is possessed by individuals who talk less. These people have a great understanding that silence may be just as powerful and expressive as words. This wisdom stems from the concept of Stoicism, which teaches us the importance of compassion, discernment, and the power of stillness. Every interaction is a goldmine of chances for these silent listeners to connect and learn at a level that words cannot express. They see conversations as opportunities to delve into the depths of another person's thoughts and feelings, rather than as platforms for their own voices. This is about active involvement without the hindrance of speaking for oneself. It is not only about remaining mute. Consider the impact it has when you listen to someone not only to respond, but also to comprehend and empathize with them. This is the essence of Stoic empathy, realizing that there are a plethora of emotions, tales, and lessons waiting to be unearthed beneath every utterance. To begin engaging in deep listening, one must be purposeful and open to viewing every conversation as a teaching opportunity about human nature. It's about putting our own thoughts aside in order to tune into the frequency of another person's experience and let their story flow without feeling compelled to add our own. This calls for patience, a Stoic virtue that teaches us to restrain our need to talk and instead let the silent moments that tell volumes to take center stage. Being patient when listening helps us become wiser because it allows us to see things from other angles that we might not have thought of if we were too preoccupied with planning our next remark. So how can we develop this advantageous quality? Begin by accepting the silence that exists within of you. Acquire comfort in silence because it's at these times that we open up to the nuanced details of communication. Consider the advice of Epictetus, who pointed out that we can listen twice as much as we speak because we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. In a society that sorely needs more listeners and fewer speakers, let this ancient knowledge lead you to become a beacon of empathy, compassion, and wisdom. This road of deep listening is a means to a more balanced, fulfilling existence, not only one of improving our interpersonal connections and communication skills. 9. The practice of thoughtful knowledge. It might be difficult to navigate an unfamiliar sea when we delve deeply into our own thoughts and feelings. Courage, curiosity, and an open heart are necessary for this voyage. The core of what it means to be a Stoic person in the modern world is this investigation and search for knowledge. It's about taking a step back in a society that values incessant speech and commotion to value quiet and reflection. Choosing when to talk and when to listen, or the art of saying little, is a quality that is fundamental to reflective wisdom. It's important to recognize the power of words and their potential influence, rather than just maintaining silence for the sake of silence. Think about the times when a buddy confides in you about an issue. There's a great impulse to speak, to fill the void with counsel. However, most of the time, just being there and being able to listen is the best assistance we can do. This decision to listen instead of speak is the result of a deep comprehension of human connection. It recognizes that receiving attention, rather than a response, is sometimes all we really need. This insight, that we may improve our relationships and our capacity to connect on a deeper level by knowing when to talk and when to be silent, is invaluable. However, how can we develop this introspective knowledge and verbal discipline? The first step is to become aware of our own speech and quiet habits. The question to ask is what I'm going to say necessary? Is it considerate? Will it be any better than the quiet? The goal of this approach is to develop intentionality in our communication rather than self-censorship. By adopting this habit, we develop our ability to communicate clearly, thoughtfully select our words, and recognize the significant influence of listening. The path to introspective insight is both individual and shared. It links us to the ancient Stoics, who recognized the importance of stillness and the power of words. We may both honor their legacy and improve our own lives by making the decision to speak less and listen more. We become more perceptive of our surroundings, more deliberate in our decision-making, and more considerate in our interactions. Although this path is often rewarding, it is not always simple. It challenges us to live intentionally, profoundly, and with a stronger sense of self and community. 10. Hardship and resiliency. Setting out on the path of silence is like to unearthing a hidden gem from our past that has been lost in the din of daily existence. Through this trip, it becomes clear that those who talk less frequently actually possess a tremendous strength, a kind of resilience that is both uncommon and crucial in the fast-paced world of today. The ageless concept of Stoicism tells us that the secret to this silent resilience is not to suppress our voice, but to know when and how to use it. It reflects the Stoic discipline of exercising control over one's actions and reactions, and is proof of the value of listening, comprehending, and thinking before speaking. Why is it that these quiet people enthrall us and earn our respect and admiration? It's because they exemplify the Stoic virtue of moderation, demonstrating to us that genuine wisdom sometimes resides not so much in the volume of words spoken as in the caliber of the ideas that precede them. Like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius, they recognized the power of words, and that by keeping some private, we enhance the significance of the ones we choose to reveal. This restricted communication is a tactic, not a restriction, that enables more thoughtful reflection and a more measured reaction to the environment. How can we apply this resilient stoicism to our own lives? It starts with realizing that quiet is a place full of opportunity for development and comprehension rather than a void. By welcoming calm times, we allow ourselves to be receptive to the teachings of hardship and develop the ability to respond purposefully and clearly instead of hurriedly. This practice teaches us to find serenity in the midst of a storm, to look within for strength, and to perceive problems as opportunities to demonstrate our resilience. It is similar to the Stoic exercises of reflection. Let's keep in mind that resilience is a powerful tool that we may use to manage not only the challenges we face in life, but also the ways in which we choose to interact with the outside world. The quiet tenacity of people who don't say much serves as a reminder that every word has the power to uplift, cure, and transform. It is an appeal to follow the Stoic values of virtue, acceptance, and perspective, which lead us to a life of direction, significance, and unflinching fortitude. As we conclude our investigation into the effectiveness of speaking less, let's remember that our genuine power comes from our capacity to pay attention, think critically, and intentionally choose the things we say. You are going to learn about the great depth of understanding and resilience that arises from intentional stillness. This is more than just choosing a calmer lifestyle as you proceed through today's lessons. I am appreciative that you have chosen to walk this path with me and have become an important part of our Stoic community as we work toward a more profound comprehension and strive to live virtuously every day. I'd like you to take a moment and leave a comment below before we part ways. I welcome silence. This small gesture of dedication has the power to initiate a profound shift in the way we view and engage with the world. Don't let this be the end of your journey. Our upcoming video contains a wealth of knowledge that will uplift and strengthen your soul. You're not just learning when you decide to become more involved with the Stoic practices we cover. Rather, you're going through a metamorphosis that goes beyond information and into the domain of genuine personal development. So take a moment to click on one of the recommendations displayed on your computer, and let's keep growing intellectually and spiritually as a team. Your journey towards being a more introspective and influential person is just getting started.